don't see any smoke, but I do see lots and lots of brownies being passed around. And gummies. Ooh. It is not easy. Is this working okay? Okay, great. It is not easy to come up on stage in front of a room full of friends and neighbors. So how about a round of applause for everybody who's performing tonight. And it really is. It's great to be here in a room full of friends and neighbors. Before the event, before we started tonight, I couldn't take 2 steps without turning around and somebody wanting to give me a hug. Or as Mike Pence likes to call it, going all the way. I know, I just made fun of a Republican. But believe it or not, because I split my time between Naples and New York City, which have very different political ideologies, in case you didn't know, I actually support both parties. I do, I really do. And when I'm in Naples, which is predominantly conservative, what I do to support conservative causes, I put bumper stickers on people's cars. Anonymously, I do that. And maybe you've seen them. They're rainbow, like rainbow flags, and they say LGBTQ across them. And the reason that I put those on cars is because you guys know what LGBTQ stands for, right? Yeah. Let's get Biden to quit. And when I'm in New York City, I support equal causes. So every time I see a Let's Go Brandon rally, I give money because, those people always have guns and wear military fatigue, so I'm assuming they advocate for gun regulation. I just got back from New York City, and I love New York, I really do. One thing that's really changed, though, over the last few years are the number of stickers. And I'm talking about stickers on bar and restaurant windows. They're just covered with political statement stickers. And they say stuff like, we support equality, and we don't discriminate. And that's fine, but what goes through my mind, where I'm from, if you have to state the obvious, it just makes me wonder, like, do you really believe that? Or is that really true? I'll give you an example. If we were having dinner at Courtside over here, and the chef comes up and says, hey, I hope you're enjoying your meal because no one sneezed on it. We have to state the obvious. Or what about if a husband comes home and says, honey, I want you to know that today I did not sleep with the secretary. I just feel like something's not respected. For this next joke, I have a little bit of license for it. So half of my family is Hispanic, and Spanish is their first language. Now, side note, my last name is Trexler. That's not Hispanic, okay? That's the kind of thing you have to state that's not obvious. But just believe that's true. So, when they came here, like any immigrant who is learning English, they struggled a little bit with that. But you know what they struggled with the most when trying to learn English? This will surprise you. Which animal shit phrase to use? That's kind of weird, right? Now here's why. So if somebody lies to you, you say bullshit. And if that same person is afraid to eat a hot pepper, you might say chicken shit. But let's say that person does eat the hot pepper and their face turns red and they look like they're about to barf. You might say, man, you look like dog shit. And speaking of cats and dogs, I don't know why, but my nanny had the hardest time remembering those two. The two easiest animals to learn in the English language, and she could not get those two straight. So when I was 6, she would say, Elliot, you look like cat shit. Now I'd say, Nanny, it's not cat shit doesn't mean jack shit. Now she's really confused. So my mom would hear me, this is rude, right? And my mom would get really upset. She'd say, you gotta show her some respect. And then, being the punk teenager I was, some might say I was a dipshit. I would say, relax, Mom, you don't need to go ape shit. I'd like to think I'm not a punk anymore. I'm sure I still have a little bit of that in me, but I've recently been confronting getting older. I know that's unique to me. And from a social standpoint, in my 20s, when my friends would call and say, hey, let's go out, I'd say, sure, come pick me up. And I'd never ask, where are we going to go? What are we going to do? I'd just hop in the car and go. And then in my 30s, I started asking questions like, well, do we have reservations? What time do they close? And then in my 40s, I started asking different questions like, what is the menu online? Is it loud? And now I always drive myself. Whenever I can. From a physical standpoint, things have also changed. So if you've ever gotten a physical in Naples and you're under 40 years old, it happens very quickly. It's like going through the drive-thru. It's like you walk in, and if you walk in on your own without any help, the doctor's like, you're wasting everybody's time, get out. Very true. But now I'm in my 40s. So I went in for a physical, and the doctor says, hey, do you mind closing the door behind you? I was a little nerve-wracking. And, when I was in my 20s, and the doctor really only had one question, which is, how many sexual partners do you have, and does it ever burn when you urinate? So now, I'm sitting with the doctor, and he says, I see you're in your 40s, so you're not having sex. How many times a night do you get up to urinate? That's what makes jokes funny, is because they're true. I want to talk a little bit about my 2023 goals. One of them it's not gonna happen. It's already failed. I had a goal. I didn't, considering how the last few years have gone, I wanted like nothing catastrophic to happen. I wanted like no huge life event. And I work in the investment industry, and in 2 banks, we had the two biggest bankruptcies ever, and that happened like in a week. So, and I work on Wall Street, and believe me, people were going batshit crazy. The other goal of mine, I actually I'm succeeding with it, and I'm happy about that. And I'm a little embarrassed to share it with all of you, but I think you all would be able to relate to it. I wanted more joy in my life. And so I decided that at the beginning of the year, I would laugh every time I farted. And the reason being, if you can't laugh at a fart, that's a shame. Because you'll have less joy in your life with the same amount of farts. And that's what I'm gonna leave you all day.